All right, welcome friends. So this is my week six assignment, a continuation from week five. So this is an API that my team and I have been working on for a school, fictional school called EduSport. So I'm already logged in with GitHub and already authorized. Okay, now switching to my production server, I should be able to access my API. Now let's check that out. For instance, let me go to attendance and see if we can record a new attendance for a student. So I'm just gonna execute right here to see if that student attendance record is created, and let that load for a while. So as it is loading, let me just go to my VS Code and show. So this is my project structure. I have the test directory, I have my config, I have my controller, I have my data, middleware, models, routes, then go to my .env file, I have my REST client files, I have my server connected to Mongoose and Express and all that. I have my Swagger file too for testing all those API documentation that I have right here. Now, oh, okay. It looks like I'm logged out. So let me just go here and log in. Yeah, I didn't know I'm logged out. Okay, so log in with GitHub. Okay, I'm logged in. Then going back to my API docs, I should be able to execute that. Now, request attendance, try it out, execute. Oh, okay, I have to switch to my production save again. Sorry for that. Try it out, execute. Boom, there we go. So we have the student ID and course ID and all that. So the attendance record has been created. Now I have to go to my try it out and then go to field by ID. Okay, so I'm just gonna use that record that has been created. So I'm just gonna check the student ID, and that record should be in my database. I'm gonna show you in a sec. Um, right here, and then go back to my. Then I'll try to execute again. Boom, we have two records. If I switch to my database here, I have my attendance records. This is true, and that's what you see here in my UI, Swagger UI here. Now I have to get a single attendance by record. Try it out, then the ID of the student record. Now I have to go to, let me just use the very first. Okay, let me see which ID record I can grab. Let's grab this one and test that and see what we get. Okay, boom, we have it. Responsible 200, so that worked. Now let's try to update a record. Try it out. And now we're gonna switch to, okay, let's see what status we had for that record. We just copied. It was on time. So this time we're just gonna say they were actually absent. You know, I remember back in school, I used to miss lessons in high school. But anyway, absent, and then boom, yeah, we have it. Status is absent, so that API endpoint is working. Now, let's see if we can delete that record. And then we'll check if the database is updated. Execute. Boom, response 200, so that worked. Now, let's test our students. Do we have a student here? Apparently, we don't have a student in our database, so we're just going to get an empty body. But let's create a student. Try it out. we're gonna call this student, let's call him Peter. I'm gonna call him Peter, and I'm gonna call him Peter Swagger. Kind of cool, right? Peter Swagger, and of course male. Sorry for that typo. Male, and then age. We're gonna say, let's say he's 23. His favorite subject, of course, is web dev. And then he always has a class because he's Peter Swagger, right? So he must be a genius. And then go to email. Just gonna say p swagger at gmail.com. Yeah, we'll just use that for the purposes of this video. And now, boom, we have Peter Swagger Mail 23. That worked. Cool. Now, let's go to student by ID. Let's see if we can use his ID. Because initially in the database, we didn't have a student. But if I check right now, I should see a student in our database. Yes, Peter Swagger. That worked. Perfect. Now, let's go to let's try to retrieve Peter Swagger because it's in our database, so we can try several endpoints to see if Peter is in our records. Really? Yes, Peter, you are in our record. That's good. Let's actually update his email. Let's say his email was. Let's just copy that record instead of creating so many. I'm just gonna copy that. Come here. Update that. Boom. And then we're gonna say his email was actually EduSpot. He uses school email like most of us do. EduSpot. Okay, that's his execute. Now we're good. Now response body 400. So that is, what does that mean? Okay, I guess it updated. Anyways, let's just try one more thing here and see if we can actually delete Peter Swagger, of which we should. Let's just go to copy his ID again. And one more thing to note is that an ID is unique to that student. It cannot be shared. Yes, student successfully deleted. When I go to my database here, I should be able to see that Peter is no longer in our database. I don't know, for let's say that student is no longer in our school. For some reasons, yeah, we can. Okay, he's gone. We can actually delete that record. All right, that worked. And then for instructors, we're just going to test that again. Execute. Empty because we don't have anything in the database. And then we're gonna try it out again. We're gonna call this instructor Smith. Smith Kruger. I'll call him Smith Kruger. I don't know why I like that name, but it sounds cool. Then course we're gonna say he teaches computer science. Computer science, and then Peter Kruger, male, then he's 35. Yeah, we don't want him to be too old, you know. And then I'm gonna say Smith SK at edusport.com. And qualification, here's a PhD. He's a genius, right? PhD. Right, so then I'm gonna execute. Now, if I go to my instructors, I should be able to see Smith Kruger. If I go to my instructors, because I didn't have an instructor initially, but now we should be able to see him. Yes, he's in our database. That's perfect. Now, going back to the next step, that is, we want to play around with this instructor's record, right? So we can update that. Now, let's say instructor ID and then execute. Boom, that worked. So we can retrieve that record, we can update, try it out, and then we can execute. Let's try to copy. Let's try to copy this, and then let's say Smith, and then copy right here, paste, and then first name. Actually, his first name was John. But Smith doesn't sound like a first name, right? Okay, John. Spelling issues. Okay, anyways. Execute. We should be able to see that record updated. Yeah, so it's not John Cougar, not Smith. And then actually we can come here and grab that ID again and try it out here. Execute. Instructor deleted. Perfect, that worked. Now if you go back again to our database, we should see that it's deleted. It's no more in our database. Just a second, is that loads? Yep, we no longer have Mr. John in our database. Now let's go try one more endpoint here. Let's try the library. The library is empty, if I'm quite sure. Let's see if it's empty. Yeah, it's empty, but we're gonna create a book. I'm gonna try to create a book. Book title, we're gonna say it's JavaScript Essentials for Instance. So we'll just say JS is the name of the book. Author is gonna be, let's say just me. Me is the author. Publisher is gonna be us. Anyway, it's gonna be 2025. Maybe let's say that's when this book was published, and then shelf location is a string. So we say, let's say it's on shelf A20, A23, and then genre. It's a computer science book, right? So just gonna see this. Then copies available. There are 200 copies of this book. Then execute. Now, when I go through, when this is executed, I think there's something that went wrong. General. Okay, and let's try to retrieve book by ID. Why is that not working? Execute again. Okay, yeah, that's at least we get an error message because we configured that. Anyway, but basically this is the API for this course that we've been working on. Let's try to see if we can do something with the course collection. Yes, the course collection is data, so that works. That's cool. Let's see if we can create a new course. So oh yeah, I didn't put a thing, so I'll get an error. Must be a positive integer. Come on. Let's say 3. Okay, that worked. And then we can copy the ID again. And then we can play around, retrieve that, delete it, and so on. Okay, perfect. So basically, this is the API and it's fully working. Of course, there is some minor issue that I have to debug and find out why it's not working, but it was working. So I have to debug. I cannot do it right now on this video. It will take so much time, but basically the API is working, and Here's my Mongo database with those collections, and here is my, what else is missing? VS Code project here, Swagger, and let me try to kill this terminal. Okay, so yeah, pretty much that's pretty much it really. And let me know what you think of this project that we have been working on. The only missing part will be then, of course, in a UI, if the front end of this school, fictional school that we have been working on. Okay, fine. So thank you.